about two young underage kids drinking alcohol. Like, is that a form of neglect?
This happens in books all the time. These are tropes that you're describing, my guy. These aren't new things. Anyway, okay, so kind of touching on a bit of the same topic here. Tim Pool and his band of merry idiots are also kind of on the war front. Kind of a different, if Matt Walsh is kind of fighting on the Western front, right? Then, Tim Pool's out here kind of fighting on like, maybe the Pacific front to a degree, one could say, because they've taken the track of focusing on schools, on teachers, on libraries, on the kids, right? Like they've taken a very specific track of making it about libraries and about about teachers and stuff. It's the same way, like, it's the same group that like Libs of TikTok's really interested in, but apparently they found that in a library there was a book that was inappropriate for children. So let's go see. I'm kind of curious. Let's go see what this horrific book is. Let's go see what we're letting our children read.
Theo, is it really graphic?
There's one F-bomb, I will warn you.
No, I don't mind that. Just letting everybody know.
Yeah.
Showing pictures or anything.
No pictures, no.
Graphic.
Right, just a warning if you
somebody
have kids
says
in the
the
room or something.
F-bomb.
I was in the library, and
1 second. An 11-year-old 6th grader reads a sexually explicit book, quote, Nick and Charlie. That should be a night. Okay, whatever. In front of a school board in Maine. The book was on display at his middle school library. These are the books offered to kids in public schools. Okay, let's do this off the bat, because the person who wrote this tweet has brainworms or has always been fucking stupid. Libraries carry an incredibly large range of books to check out. Also, libraries are not like, there's a reason why there's the like 3rd grade section, there's the 4th grade section, there's like the 5th grade section. When it comes to a library, what books are available isn't tailored to the individual ages or maturity of each child. These are literary works that have been, at the very least, vetted to be valuable in some form or fashion for children between, usually, if we're talking like a middle school, between the ages of what? I think that's like 9 to like 13, maybe, or like, I'm not 100%, I don't remember how old I was in middle school off the top of my head. But yeah, like, okay, like, first of all, yeah, all of the books in a library are offered to kids because that's how a library works. Everything is offered to you. It's an open public place for you to have access to literature. Also, I also want to say, why is a child reading, if this is an explicit book, right? Like, if this is, they say it's sexually explicit, why the fuck are they letting a kid read it out loud? Does anybody else think that's a bit weird? Just saying.
this book was on a stand. I'd like to read you a page.
Was on a stand.
My back over my hips as I ask if we should take our clothes off. And he's saying yes before I finish my sentence. He's pulling off my t-shirt, laughing when I can't undo his shirt buttons. He's undoing my belt. I'm reaching into his bedside drawer for a condom. We're kissing. Again, we're rolling over. Obviously, you can see where this is going. I don't know if it's because we're feeling especially emotional or just tired.
Wait. That's explicit?
Or these past couple of weeks have been too much. But this reminds me so much of the first time we had sex. We were both fucking terrified, and the whole thing was kind of terrible.
6th grade.
We didn't know what.
That lady just say. So notice everybody's like, okay, so I'm blocking one of these guys. Let me see if I can here. I know you're gonna hate it. I'm gonna disappear for a moment. Everything is all right. 1 second, if I can remember which fucking thing makes me disappear. Like, you know, you got this dude down in the corner here. He's real upset. This girl down here is kind of like, seems kind of weird. You know, the dude in the middle, I think you could probably see he's like violently shaking his head. Homeboy in the middle on the right, just kind of watching, and not super interested. Tim is, I don't know, probably jerking off or something. And this guy up at the top left, I have no idea what he's doing. I don't know why he has a weird Funko in front of him. I don't know. He's just kind of sitting there. But like the reactions of everybody is like disgust and like, oh my God, can you like believe this? To which, again, I have to point out, if this is such a controversial, explicit, everything that they describe it book, and this passage is as bad as they say it is, then why the fuck is this guy's probably redneck truck driving looking ass dad having him like come in and fucking read this shit out loud? Like, it's a bit weird, no? Like, why would, if it's really bad, why would you ask them to read it out loud except to make a political point, to which you're just kind of using your own child as a political tool, which, by the way, I would argue is actual child abuse. They're probably going to be like, letting a kid read a book voluntarily that has this material, that's child abuse. I think this is child abuse. Somebody should absolutely be calling CSA on whatever parent put this kid up to reading this in a public space, and then like filmed and sent out to all of Twitter to be disseminated to millions of people.
Good too, so good. Because we were a mess of emotions, and we were scared and excited, and everything felt new. So this sort of feels like that. Nick touches me like he's scared of that any minute.
What?
Whoa. Did you hear any? Okay, can someone tell me how that was explicit? Genuinely, I like. If like I remember when people got really fucking up in arms because oh, is it the Alaska book? It's like a John Green book. I don't remember the exact name. It's like something Alaska. But like there's like a scene in it where one of the where like I think there's actually two scenes. There's one scene where they like actually have sex and they're teenagers, and another one where they like, I think the like main character gets their dick sucked, but it's like uninteresting and it's written in a very like in a very like artistic way. Like it's like detailed, but like not in like a very clinical way, it's not like built up to be a good moment because the character in the moment isn't really enjoying it the way that they thought they would, and it was disappointing or whatever. But like I remember when people got really up in arms and that book got like banned for, you know, sexual content, and we all thought it was ridiculous then. And based on, if this I mean, this has to be the worst passage, right? Like this has to be the worst passage. But like, what was there? Did you guys hear anything that was crazy? I certainly didn't. The worst thing, like the most like eye-raising thing is when they're like, somebody reach for a condom, to which I'm like, all right, like, yeah, people should be using condoms. Yeah, that's a good thing. We want that. Like, okay.
What book was that? Nick and Charlie. It's about gay people or something.
Two teen boys stealing wine from their parents and proceeding to experiment sexually with one another. Guys, he can't even say library properly. Like, why should he be learning about? He says library. Like,
I want to thank you, Knox, for speaking up and out. You got courage, man.
What a fucking what? You got courage, man. Your dad put you up to that. You're a good warrior for the right, man.
Yeah.
Nice job.
Yeah, do you think that kid...
That's a brutal to have to go through that, dude.
And
My God, you had to read a book.
The dad said that this is actually not just at the younger kid's school. He has an older son who was at a high school in the area, and said the book Genderqueer is allowed.
Oh, I have it.
Yeah,
it's here.
Yeah. So,
sorry to interrupt. You were saying?
No, exactly. But that's available in the gender. School, so it's clearly just.
It's a book about not being straight, and I don't even know if it's about being trans necessarily, but it's literally just a book about a teenager who's going through a like the kind of typical questions of like, if somebody thinks they might be trans, they might be non-binary, they might be gay, like it's literally just a book for a book from the perspective of one of those people in life experiences. Like, it's not, we have books about coming of age, like, that involve sex and kids' sexual experiences and their sexual introduction. Like, yeah, it's pretty normal material for young adult novels.
That's nuts, because it's like a guy putting a prosthetic penis in his
Oh,
mouth.
I mean,
yeah.
I wasn't in school that long ago. Like, I feel like, how has it changed that much?
It would have been a huge deal if someone found that book in my school.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone would have known about it. It would have been all our parents. I would have told my parents. Everybody would have known about it.
What a fucking narc. He's like, I would have told my parents about it. Like, do you see this? They have a book about gay kids. And it's like, that's not a mark in your favor, my friend. I mean, yeah, school age kids are kind of homophobic, because especially like in my time, especially like my age, like there were whole like while gay acceptance was like more of a thing for my generation, and certainly in my graduating class, like it was a lot more of a I think an acceptance of non-heterosexual folks and stuff. But like, yeah, like you like there were always people who would be like, excuse me, Miss Librarian, ma'am, this book it has gay people in it, and it's promoting gay values, which are not in line with the teachings of Jesus Christ. And then those librarians would be like, okay, cool, that's really nice. This is a library. I don't care. There are people here who aren't like Jesus lovers. You can not check it out. Nobody's forcing you to. Also, from what I understand, I'm not like I'm trying to like find it. What's the thing? I found the thing earlier. Yeah, I think we'll just use this one. I used this earlier to read. But like, yeah, like the crazy thing to me is like, go away ad. Yeah, this kid's 11, right? This kid's 11, and I think I remember reading this. The book's advisory is that you're not supposed to read it until you're like 14. Like he's not even supposed to have the book yet, right? Like, yeah. Do they read the passage? Book was let's see. Knox proceeded to read, my back over my hips. I asked if he should take his clothes off. He was saying yes before I finished my sentence. He's pulling off my t-shirt, laughing when I can't undo his shirt buttons. He's undoing my belt. I'm reaching into his beside drawer for a condom. When I rented... Oh, that's it. Is that it? Okay, cool. Yeah, was that explicit? Was any of that explicit? And again, he's an 11-year-old reading a book for 14 or older year olds. So yeah, no, like there wasn't an intention for him to get the book. Most likely, like they might be arguing like, oh, well, like how did he get the book if he's not supposed to get the book? He's this certain age. Well, here's the question. Is it insane to think? And I know this is going to be, hear me out here. Is it impossible to think that this kid's parents already knew about this book's existence, knew about this, about this book and the genderqueer book, and they instructed their child to try and, to check the book out of the library, and when confronted by a librarian. The librarian, rings the book. Is like, ooh, you're only 11, kid. I don't know about this. This is for 14 years or older. How much do you want to, how insane is it to think that this kid probably mentioned like, yeah, like, oh, well, I really want to read this book. I've heard that it might help me and da-da-da-da-da. Like, are we sure that this kid didn't just like lie or even like, you know, pretend to have a particular interest in this book so that they could get it in the hands of their parents, so their parents could go read it through, find the most explicit passages, so they could then bring this kid to this fucking school board meeting, have them have their 11-year-old child read something that they deem inappropriate, so that they can, you know, make a political message and they can get their the gays out of their libraries. I know that doesn't sound. I know that sounds completely insane, but you know, I gotta wonder. I do have to wonder. Yeah, and it seems like you know, and at worst, that's like at worst. At best, their best explanation is that the librarian decided, hey, you know, maybe this kid like needs to read something like this. Sure, I'll let him check it out. It'll be fine. And even then, what will we do then? Just implement stronger, you know, give the, you know, I don't even know about suspend them. Probably just have a meeting with them and be like, hey, you need to be discerning more with the age restriction on these books. And that's it. That's like best case, like that's like the worst possible version of this. But no, their issue isn't that he got a hold of the book. The issue is that it's there at all. It's not about if he got it. It's not about if the librarian gave it to him or let him check it out. They're not even arguing that. They're upset that it's even in the schools to begin with.
Would have been just people would have lost their jobs for this kind of thing in 1987.
Yeah, probably, because 1987 was a shit times like the rest of the 80s.
Their queer book. I think most people watching the show already know what I've had to say about it, but conservatives haven't even read it. And every time I talk to some conservatives, like, oh, I know that book. I'm like, did you read it? The answer is no. And then my attitude is like, this is why I am not in favor of blanket book bans, because people should be able to have access to something to understand what it is. That's totally different than if children are getting access to something. I think certain, you know, like certain books and stuff should be restricted for children. Obviously, we ban porn. But this book is a story.
Well, it's really funny you'd say that, because there was like an age advisory on the book, meaning that, like, again, this 11-year-old is not intended to be reading this. They've already accounted for, ooh, this isn't appropriate for 11-year-olds. Let's make it for 14 or up so that 11-year-olds don't get a hold of it. You know, it's actually also funny because I remember when I was a kid, I used to go to Blockbuster Video all the time. I don't know how many people remember Blockbuster Video. It was this magical place with like 1 million copies of like the same 5 DVDs, basically. But like, you know, there was, you know, you would go into the store. There was like the kids section, there was like the action section, there was the horror section, there was the drama section, there was the romance section. Here's the crazy thing. Is that as a kid, I would be able to freely roam the Blockbuster Video, pick up and read the synopses, look at, you know, not watch the movie necessarily, but interact with adult entertainment products, right? And it's like, oh my God. And we didn't have like a panic over that. Kids are always around adult entertainment. They're always around it. All like you can't control this without like trying to control media, without mass censorship of media. But like, what do these people do? They cause stir over like, can you believe there was like a like book intended for 18-year-olds in the same library that 14-year-olds attend? And it's like, yeah, it's called a fucking library in a high school, meaning that there's going to be kids who are like 17 or 18, depending on like, you know, if they started later, if they started early, and then kids who just started like entering into the school. Like we have like libraries are there for a wide range of people to be able to consume literature. Like this isn't even that interesting, but they've made it into a whole fucking thing.
Of the extreme psychological abuse of a young woman and how it created someone who is traumatized and needs like deep therapy. It is not So
What are we talking about? Wait, I'm sorry.
physical abuse of a that's totally different than if children are getting access to something. I think certain like certain books and stuff should be restricted for children. Obviously, we ban porn, but this book is the story of the extreme psychological abuse of a young woman and how it created someone who is traumatized and needs like deep therapy. It is not this. It is not
Crazy.
So, for a few examples, for those who didn't hear this, she couldn't read till she was 12. She was pissing outside when she was a child. She was never taught how to take care of her body. So she would wear old crusted pads in school, and she smelled like feces to the point where she got called into the counselor and they complained and said, people are complaining of your smell and you need to do something about this. So this poor young woman, hairy legs, hairy armpits, totally unsocialized by weird hippie parents who have her peeing in the yard. And then she feels some kind of social rejection because she doesn't know how to fit in with her peers. And she writes about it, how she's like, I can't read, I smell bad, and people are being mean to me. So she's not non-binary. She's just traumatized because because her parents abused her.
And this book that Knox is reading, I still don't have Nick and Charlie, about two young underage kids drinking alcohol. Like, is that a form of neglect, abuse by the parents? The kids, not that you can't, like a kid's gonna do what a kid does, but I believe
This happens in books all the fucking time. Kids get a hold of alcohol before the age of 21. It happens all the fucking time in YA novels. This is like the thing that kind of irritates me is they mention these aspects of like fiction for like children that have been like in fiction. This has been in, these are tropes that you're describing, my guy. These aren't new things. They're not even commentaries on the parents. They're commentaries on like usually a different time of being a child. A lot of times you'd read like books that take place more like in the 50s, 60s, or 70s, kind of in in a past time when like kids could get away with like fucking like stealing some beer or like any of these other like petty things. And it's not like bad. It's just that's how things were. Like, these are tropes. You're describing tropes. Like, read a
if you
fucking
parent
book.
the kid properly. Like, I didn't drink until I was 23 because my parents told me don't do it. It's horrible for you. I tasted it once. It tasted disgusting. I was like, all right, I'm not going to do it.
I think you might be in the minority on that.
That's unfortunate. It's kind of weird. I gotta say, it's kind of weird that
Not
this
really.
Nick and Charlie book's written by a woman. I just think that's weird. Maybe that's just me. Like, if it was written by,
God forbid, women are
a gay man
writers.
writing about his experience growing up and discovering he was gay and stuff, I'd be like, I get it. But it's written by a woman who is like, it almost seems like some kind of weird, I don't know. She's sitting there imagining what it must be like to be a teenage boy hooking up with another teenage boy. It just doesn't. It seems weird.
You think that their mentality, because this should not be in a
I'm sorry, but like, are we here to police authors writing from a perspective that's not theirs? Like, am I the only one who's kind of like, so what you're telling me is women can't write about boys or men, and men can't write about girls or women? Like, what the fuck is this? Like, what is this like anti-artistic, anti-literature, anti-like fucking freedom take here? Like, okay.
school. A book
idiot.
about two young underage kids having sex with each other should not be in a government school, in my opinion. But you think the argument's like, hey, there's so many books anyway, we can't keep count, and it's all on the internet anyway. If they want to read it, it's there.
I've heard that.
Wait, say that again?
In a book about two young underage kids having sex with each other should not be.
Okay, cool. So here's the thing. Do kids have sex while they're underage? Yes. Okay, cool. So it's not something new that kids are experiencing for the first time. It's kind of something that's always been a part of like every coming of age story, basically. Like, it's not weird. Like, I don't know why we're suddenly treating this as like it's weird. Like, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of books in every fucking school library that involves a heterosexual relationship and the sexual not even confusion, inexperience of the characters in that relationship. In almost in thousands of kids books, of like young adult novels. This isn't fucking weird. It's the most normal fucking thing kids think about. Have you ever met a fucking like 14, 15 or 16-year-old, especially young boys? All they can fucking do is think about having sex and when they're gonna have sex and what it's gonna be like and how that's gonna happen and who's it's gonna be with. Fuck's sake, there's a reason why these YA novels always kind of address in some form or fashion like that aspect of being a child. Because that's a big part of a child's development, of like somebody growing into an adult in some form or fashion. Like, yeah, no fucking shit. Like, do you guys have fucking problems with like The Breakfast Club, a touchstone of American cinema, but regardless is still like interested in the relationship, or not the relationship necessarily, the like speculation of somebody's sexual activity by like the Molly Ringwald's character, or even like what's the I forget if it's Pretty in Pink or what the or if it's 16 Candles. I think it's 16 Candles. Like 16 Candles, the book where like, you know, they have like all of the nerds fucking, you know, the one nerd makes like a deal with Molly Ringwald's character to get her panties or whatever. And like these are things that teenagers are constantly like angsty about. Like, and writers write about that stuff to give them direction, to give them a way to frame their life, to give them an understanding that the feelings and the like unsure nature of those feelings are a normal part of being a person, of being a human. Like, oh my God, like I can't stand that they're pretending like this is weird. It's the most normal fucking thing ever.
In a government school, in my opinion, but you think the
Government
argument's like,
fucking
hey, there's so many
school.
books anyway, we can't keep count, and it's all on the internet anyway. If they want to read it, it's there.
I've heard that argument a lot of times. Like, if kids want to get access to this stuff, they're going to get access to it. So we might as well have it be like the, you know,
That is a
Pulitzer
argument.
Prize-winning version of it.
Access to information because of the internet is a big issue. I think when an age where kids could get on the internet could be a big issue, because if they could access the internet, they could get crazier stuff than anything that's written in this book. And
Absolutely.
I don't know. What about TikTok? We see a lot of
the woman who wrote this. She's like 28 or 29 years old.
Yeah. So we see videos
so
from
weird.
Authors are ages. Get over it, Tim. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. Here, Tim, let me solve this for you. Women are better writers. There, I solved it for you. Now shut the fuck up.
Of TikTok of crazier stuff.
The
People
most
are going to
uninteresting
Jack
fucking
Reed
thing
story
ever.
Hours, and there have been some crazy videos that they uploaded recently of some things in England where they're like stripping in front of children.
Babies.
So
Like
stuff's
doing
even
sex
crazier than
performance
this.
moves
Saw
in front of
that.
babies.
Yeah.
I'm not even exaggerating. It's like a dozen babies.
Or are they talking about the fucking, are they talking about the thing where like 3 and under year olds who literally can't remember anything? I'm not even sure if they've mastered object permanence after a point, are going to be like confused by a person, a human being of like questionable gender assignment, moving around. Like, yeah, they'll be fine, Tim. It's fine. It's
all
really
crawling
not
on
the biggest
ground,
deal.
and they're like,
Remember when we
wearing
used to do that
thongs.
for like the Teletubbies, when you were like, oh my gosh, the Teletubbies, and now it's like, oh my gosh, a stripper for babies.
You think the
like,
Teletubbies were grooming kids? Because that was after my kid time. I was out of the house.
This dude is the weird. I fucking hate this guy. Like on site, I fucking hate this guy. He's so fucking weird to me. He's got such a weird stare. This has nothing to do with This is unsubstantial. But like, this guy's fucking weird. This dude definitely watches child porn.
I just thought they were so weird and
I-
brainwashy, like and like making this weird beeping sounds and like gyrating back and forth. I'm like, what is this? God.
Teletubbies
I don't
is
know, I was
fucking
mesmerized.
wild.
by
the scariest thing was it was the flaming baby head, the burning baby head that would be in the sky.
He
going,
was the sun.
You're like, ah. No, Teletubbies was fine. I don't know. I just don't understand why you do all this weird stuff for kids, where it's like, think about the
Also, do I really need to say it? I think I covered this already. Like the drag show thing in the UK where you bring your 3-year-old is for parents who want a fun night out but also can't afford a babysitter. Like parents do this all the time. They can't afford babysitters, they can't get a babysitter, but they want to go out and live like at least moderately normal lives, and it's why you have like, you bring your kid to like a headphone, like a headphone rave or whatever, a silent rave or something like that, like things to like get parents out and they can take their kids to, but they can still operate mostly as like adults for the most part. They just, if you can't leave the kid at home, if you don't got a babysitter, you still want to go out. Like that's all that was for. The purpose wasn't to bring your child. The purpose is to offer that experience to adults who have kids who can't get babysitters but still want to go out. It's really not that deep, and it's not that what's the word? It's not that it's just not that deep.
Pre-television era, what were children seeing all day, every day in their entertainment? A human being telling a story, reading a book with very few pictures.
Oh my
and then when
God.
TV comes around, all of a sudden you got like Snuffleupagus and like Big Bird and weird,
So
creepy
would you
monster
like us to
things
go back
going
to
on.
just
Oh,
like
and then the
all
kids
the
are like,
kids
I identify
gather
with that.
around like one
There was a time
guy
where you
why I
had-
think
That's
you
how
get-
we got furries.
Yes.
and like
parents-
he reads a book
Parents
in front
put
of
kids in front of TVs and turn on Looney
a
Tunes.
whole bunch of
and then these kids start
and that's
identifying
it.
with the social interactions of cartoon animals. And that's why when you look at pictures of furries, they don't dress up like actual animals. They dress up like Bugs Bunny kind of animals with big eyes, and they look like cartoon characters.
That's part of the anime culture too, though.
Furry?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Tim watches anime. It's like, wait. I watch anime. No. It's not. That's not me.
We were just at
Also, by the way, if he was like at all like, if he was at all on target with that with that comparison, you would see so many more furries. Do you know how many like shows I watch with people in like costumes or dressed as animals or involved animals? Almost all of them. But like, how many people are actually furries? An incredibly small, marginal group of people. And even them, that's part of like not even like a majority of like a whole community. Like the people who actually like, there are people who draw like furry porn, but then they don't like dress up. So it's like, even then within that community, there's not like it is not even a 100% retention of the whole dressing up as a animal or whatever the fuck. Like it's just no. Like if this was such an epidemic, you'd see way more furries, but you don't. They're pretty unique to see out in the wild, if I'm being honest.
Katsukan. My team and I didn't go, but my team went and we were all discussing everything. It's fascinating to see the anime culture and the inroads it has into grooming, actually.
What is Katsukan? I'm sorry.
It's
because lolly
not to be
shit.
offensive. It's just like a convention of like anime lover, nerdy people.
Just say weebs. It's not offensive. You can just say weebs.
Felt very harmless when I was there until I learned how the inroads of it. I mean, that can take you from something very harmless, like dressing up like a furry or dressing up like an anime
But
character.
furry is not cosplay.
Yes and no. Some of them have those conventions just like that.
I mean, they're not the same thing. Furry is very different from cosplay, but there's probably
I don't know if I agree with that. I would have to have somebody explain to me how they're different, but okay.
some overlap for sure.
Yeah,
So some
there's
furries
I'm
cosplay,
sure there's
some don't.
yeah.
Yeah, there was a cosplaying furry at my high school.
Yeah, I mean, there's for some reason furry Nazis. Like they wear fur suits and then they get like they dress up.
Well,
like,
yeah, there's
whatever,
there's
man, I don't know.
Nazis.
I was fortunate to grow up in the era of reading Rainbow with LeVar Burton. What's up?
Oh, you're a fucking loser. Oh my god, I hate this guy. I fucking hate this guy. His whole thing is like, I grew up in the fucking 80s when everything was amazing except for the AIDS crisis and everything and the what's the word I'm looking for? The breakdown of our public systems by Reagan. Oh yeah, totally. Like, shut the fuck up. God damn. I hate people who do like the I grew up in a better time shit. It's the most cringy boomer fucking meme ever. Like, I'm sorry, your childhood fucking sucked. Shut the fuck up.
LeVar, one of the best. I mean, just easy shows where he just reads a book, or
Reading
actually
Rainbow's
a kid would read
ass.
the book, and then Mr. Rogers, where it's a guy, a genuine dude, like sitting there looking at the camera, giving you encouragement, and then
imagine quoting like
educating you by-
imagine quoting Mr. Rogers, but failing to understand or even like synthesize the like empathy and like values that Mr. Rogers pushed. Like Mr. Rogers like actively spoke to kids in a respectable way and tried to get them and tried to communicate a understanding, a worldview of empathy and of understanding to create better kids. And yet this fucking idiot is on this fucking show continually constantly doing like the my childhood was like way better, my childhood was like, everything was way better back when I was a kid, even though that's the same thing everybody fucking says. Guess what? Your parents said the same thing about their childhood over yours. Their parents said the same thing about theirs over theirs. Like everyone always thinks their childhood was the best. You want to know why? Because childhood's great. You don't have to work, you don't got bills, you don't got problems, you just go and have fun for the most part. Like, yeah, no shit, idiot. Like, also, again, way to not synthesize any of the information, any of the lessons of Mr. Roger. Good job. Fucking
by
rolling
reading
in his
books and
grave.
telling you about it's how to tie your shoes and like things, like things that kids may
And
not
Mr.
know.
Rogers also come out like
I thought
pro-gay, like
that-
at a time
like, I was
when
thinking this and I couldn't type it out. It wasn't
really
some typable
socially
thing, but, like until you're
acceptable.
able as a human to create order in reality around you, I don't think you should have the ability to cut yourself up or sterilize yourself. And like,
what the
I just
fuck does
assumed
that
every
even
kid
fucking
eventually-
mean? The dude yesterday said mentioned does like the mutilation and cutting up and what does any of this mean? And what does any of it have to do with anything? We're not talking about trans kids right now. We're talking about literature and First Amendment rights. Fucking Christ. These people, they're just so fucking obsessed with they just want to talk about the mutilation of children. Here's a fun fact. The percentage of kids under the age of medical consent who are getting top or bottom surgery is infinitesimal. It is a number I'm not even sure it hits the double digits. And even then, even if you could find children who have surgeries that would be described as gender assignment at all, there is at the very least a non-zero percentage of them that are getting it because they are intersex. There are not kids getting surgeries as trans affirmative care below the age, generally below the age of like 18 or 16. It kind of depends on the severity, and it also depends on the laws of medical consent in each state. But either way, this is an incredibly small group that they're pretending is like happening every single day. There's Matt Walsh did this. They asked Matt Walsh, "Oh, hey Matt, how many kids are getting like these surgeries done?" And this happened months ago that they asked this dipshit. They asked him, "How many kids are having these surgeries done? How many of them are actually going through with any of these surgeries? How many of them are actually going through with this, that, or the other?" And you know what Matt Walsh says? Just like these fucking tards, they're gonna fucking say, I bet like millions and, a couple hundred thousands, all these kids, tons of kids, da-da-da-da-da. And then when they go look up the numbers, it's like, yeah, there was like maybe 100, like maybe in like a year, like over the course of like the last couple of years, we're like maybe striking at 1,000. And even then, like, it's such a small group, but it's so fucking stupid. It's like, you are picking out the smallest possible group to describe like an entire like fucking healthcare and like healthcare approach for an entire segment of this country. Like, fucking Jesus.
We'll get
It's
to a
so
place where they
fuking
can create order
dishonest.
in reality. I don't think
What
that's
is
the
order
case,
in
though.
reality anyway?
You need a good,
There's no such
strong
thing as
parental unit
creating
to help you
order.
learn how to do that.
I think we're seeing how
Fucking
broken
stupid.
culture and society is because of the us being cut from our roots. What is it?
What does
Cut
that
flower
mean?
politics or whatever that Dennis Prager calls it. You pluck the flower from its roots and it looks beautiful, but then eventually withers and decays. And so
Does flour come from roots? Am I fucking insane? Is that how flour is made? Is he talking about wheat?
we've been severed from the roots that have made this country an amazing place. And so now we're starting to wither. and
I
decay.
would like to do a Timcast show. If you want to do a show where I read books to kids, and talk to
Oh
them
my
and
god,
encourage them.
never. That is the most
think that's-
pedo
we
shit
need
I've ever
more of
heard of
that
in my
in
life.
society.
Kids show.
It doesn't have to be to kids
Ian
either.
Crossland story.
I actually have. I did the Phantom Toll Booth. I have like
you know, not to quote another conservative. Actually, I think it might have been from this show. If they wanted to do that, I need to ask, why is this adult man hanging around a bunch of kids? What a fucking groomer. Like,
19 video series on YouTube on my playlists where I read the Phantom Toll Booth. It's one of my most popular. It's my most popular playlist by far.
No, we should do a go-go dancer story hour.
Yeah, we need
What's
more
the difference?
wholesome, like just genuine encouragement for children.
The left would love it. You make tons of money. Well, they're totally into that stuff, right? As a moneymaker right there.
tons of money. Remember, the richest subsect of our society is trans people. Trans people really do hold the levers of power in terms of finance in this country. It's not right-wing donors and billionaires. No. It's trans activists. They hold the real coffers here.
Go-go dancer story hour. There's no difference. There's literally none. Go-go dancers do not get naked. They dance on stage. They strut
true,
around
yeah.
for
This
tips.
is correct.
And they remove parts of clothing, but they still keep their undergarments on.
Is it just
Right.
too like? Is it just have we?
Fun fact, that's not what family-friendly drag performers do. They walk around, keep the clothes on that they started with, and then you can give them tips. Those two things aren't the same. Like, go to a family-friendly drag, go to like a PG drag show. They're usually wearing like a lot of clothing, not really a lot of skin. They just kind of dance around, do their thing, and yeah. Now, if you want to go to a like not PG drag show, then yeah, you might, that's comparable, but that's not what, it's the difference between PG movies and R-rated movies. They're both still movies, but there's a certain level of content allowance, that delineates the difference between those two things.
Evolve past showing kids puppets and telling them you're okay and being cool? Is that just give it up?
Wait,
like,
but I
forget
thought
about it,
puppets
move on?
make you
I think
a
your
furry.
point actually just goes to my point that I made earlier, which is like the go-go dancers would somehow be dubbed inappropriate because you're sexualizing women because it's a straight thing. But
Right.
you make it LGBT
Male go-go dancers.
and I don't even know. You're not explaining
Only if
how.
the males kiss each other, though.
Yeah.
Magic Mike kids.
Then it's not.
There you go.
But yeah, then it's not really.
Imagine thinking you're not the groomer and you want to take kids to like a go-go dancing event. Nobody on the left wants this. We just want family-friendly versions of performances. We just want age appropriate. But like here they are in their studio having a gay old time, talking about taking the kids to go-go dance performances. Hey, look, if that's what you're into, if that's what you want to take your family to, man. No judgment here.
Then it's considered appropriate.
Like,
right?
I don't even
Because
want
it's
to.
Wait.
I don't even want to read other people's
two
kids.
lady go-go
Feels
dancers,
weird.
Yes.
but they kissed before.
Then it would be appropriate
Sounds
according
like
to
voodoo.
our
Like the
modern
re-
society.
The reaction I just got from reading.
I love how they don't have anybody like even ostensibly on the left to like be like, yeah, no, you're all stupid. Like, yeah, none of this is what any of us have ever advocated for. This is only you are talking about taking kids to strip clubs. Let's be clear.
To kids it's like this. Don't mess with other people's kids. Like, I don't even want to get involved now. I don't even want to touch it. Like, let those
what?
kids do it on their own. I don't want to
Who
help
said
society.
that?
Who said that?
Oh, the whole vibe is like
Yeesh.
it's just so dirty about like.
Ian's feelings got hurt because nobody supported his.
I don't know, man. Why are people not more interested in helping children? They would talk about the problems all day. But where's the solutions?
Thanks for watching this clip.
What's the problem? What do you mean my kids? The people who take their kids to like drag to PG drag shows, like they're not taking other people's kids, they're taking their kids. Like, the fuck? Such a weird fucking take. I genuinely don't understand the hysteria. I understand it from like they rile themselves up kind of way, but to this day I just can't imagine being like this obsessed with the whole like this obsessed with it and like it's on your mind like 24/7. But I don't know, man. Just shit is wild. The thing that they tell, like at the end of all YouTube videos where they tell you to like click on one of these like things to watch more videos. Yeah, I've been meaning to film one of those, so that's what I was doing. I was just setting it up to film one.